Okay, welcome back to Two Sides, Same Couch. My name is Maggie, and this is
Myron.
And this is our last episode of the season.
Yeah.
We recorded a whole, how many episodes?
12 episodes.
12 episodes. This is 13?
No,
this is 12.
This is 12.
Wow. And we are just super grateful. So many people have been watching in our community. So thank you to those of you who have watched, even if it's just one episode. Some of you have watched all of them. So we're just grateful. What are we? Well, we're a podcast where two friends dig into conversations that most people avoid. And that is true. Because the grief episode that we just put out was the most viewed, one of the most viewed videos.
Yeah, for us, for sure.
And that's definitely a conversation people avoid.
Oh, most definitely.
So I guess what we're talking about resonates with people, and that's what we wanted to do from the beginning. We tend to have deep conversations with one another. We often have different perspectives, and we often learn a lot because we have different perspectives. So we just wanted to bring people along for that journey. So it's our last episode of the season. And the topic is forgiveness.
Another topic people readily avoid.
Exactly. So here we go. So Myron, what does forgiveness mean to you?
I don't know. I feel like there should be an easier answer for this. Forgiveness is the sense of letting go. Mm-hmm. Letting go of resentment, letting go of pain, letting go of just that all-consuming feeling. I mean, I guess it depends on what the wrong is or how you were wrong, but it's a lingering thing that just can consume you at times. It can define you if you let it. Yeah, but it's that opening of the hand so that you can, be freed.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like, you said what can define you? What defines you? That holding on to that?
Yeah, you're holding on to that.
Anger, resentment.
Resentment, pain, shame, all of it.
So how can that define someone?
Oh, you can let that become your entire identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what does forgiveness mean to you?
I really feel like it means when you stop being angry at someone. It's very simple, but that's what I think. Like you're just not, you have no longer, you have those negative feelings towards somebody. Like they're gone, which I guess is connecting to letting go. Like you no longer feel that anymore towards somebody or towards a situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was easy.
Was it now?
Forgiveness done.
Okay, well, in that vein, how do you know if you've forgiven someone?
You don't feel those feelings anymore towards someone. Like you're not feeling anger, you're not feeling resentment. I think that you can, like those feelings are heavy. So I feel like they weigh a lot in the body. You feel like it's heavy.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lightness that comes with forgiveness. You feel lighter. This is a hard thing to talk about. Because I was about to say letting go again, but this is all words that we're using to describe something, but it's actually very complex and not.
Well, I think like forgiveness in and of itself isn't just. Forgiveness is very much, I think it's a journey. Again, depending on what your the wrongness that was done to you is. I think it's more or less a journey than like you think of forgiveness as the destination. But I don't think when you're saying like when you're no longer angry at somebody, I think you can even forgive someone while you're still angry at them.
So then the definition is incorrect. If the definition isn't, my definition was stop being angry at someone.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's still part of the process, but that's the most end destination where there's no longer any, when you're no longer.
Well, when you have forgiven, there should be no more anger, right?
Again, maybe anger is the first phase, whereas like something like.
Can you guys see him? My dog's right here.
Who knows? I think like
he feels this topic.
Wow, you holding on to hurt?
Probably.
Yeah, so like you can still feel, you'll still probably feel angry. I think like when anger and hurt and all those things are gone, that's like
that's forgiveness.
Nah, that's not even forgiveness. That's just when you've let go of the pain. Like
what?
You can I think you can forgive and still have some hurt that lingers. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I mean, after you have a surgery and like you cut out a cancer, you'll still have pain like from the surgery, but that doesn't mean that the cancer's not, or cancer's still there. You know, you'll just have lingering things in your, like if something happened to you and you'll naturally have something that lingers because of that.
You might have a scar.
Yeah.
Like, but if we're comparing it to healing.
Yeah.
Like,
But
you know you're healed when it's not hurting anymore.
Yes, but that doesn't, still forgiveness, again, is a process, not just a light switch that you flip off and on.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think it's healing and then healed. Forgiving.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
With a process of forgiving and then forgiven.
Yeah, but...
Like, it's complete.
Forgiving someone is... It's just a complete... I mean, the process... And I think it actually can depend on, like... There's no like, okay, you gotta forgive first in order to start moving toward your healing, or you can actually start moving toward your healing and then forgive. I think it could vary just depending upon the person and the situation. Like it'll just depend. So then how do you know you are forgiving someone? If you still feel angry, you still feel hurt. How do you know that you're forgiving? Well, forgiveness is a conscious choice. I just don't understand. Like if I'm not feeling anything, if I'm just like, I choose to be in the process of forgiving. But you don't know if anything's happening. Like, how do you know something's happening? Wait, how do you know what's happening? Forgiveness, forgiving. What I just asked. Because you said it's a choice. So you know that you're forgiving if you make a choice. Yeah. Okay, sure. What if you don't feel any different? You're like, okay, now, so the choice is the only thing, the only indicator? No, but it's not the only indicator. Again, you're not naturally going to make that choice unless you're in a position to feel like, I don't know, it's so hard to even like really quantify. Because now I'm hearing you say, like, I'm thinking about choice, and a lot of people say forgiveness is a choice, and I think you're kind of saying that too. But like for me, and we kind of touched on this a little bit before we started recording, there's been times, very recent times, where I was like, I want to forgive someone. Like I wanted to. The choice, the willingness is there. But I felt like I couldn't. Like I felt like I was not there. I was not in a place to do that. You know, it's like I want to be there, but I'm not. And so I didn't feel like it was a choice in that moment. Well, like I was not feeling the feelings of forgiveness. I didn't feel that. Even that recognizing where you are in that process is still all part of the journey. Like there are people who won't even choose to recognize that, and that becomes, you just your tunnel vision, and you're just locked into that perpetual cycle of hurt and victimization and anger and sometimes revenge. It'll get to that point. Yeah. But like even recognizing I'm not ready yet, that's still part of the process. Yeah. Because I mean, again, it's depending on how you were harmed and like myriads of factors. Like you'll have to make those steps before you can get to the, this is no longer an issue for me. So I think that forgiveness is tough because a lot of the times people associate forgiveness with, how do I say this? Almost like I feel as though, or maybe it's me, maybe it's just me. Like sometimes forgiveness feels like me saying that what happened didn't hurt the way that it did. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's almost like this, when you've been hurt really bad by somebody, I think sometimes forgiveness can feel like not honoring that hurt. Yeah, it can feel like you're almost justifying what happened. Exactly. And so because I'm thinking like, what are the barriers? Why do people not forgive? I think that could be potentially one of them. Because, everyone always talks about like how forgiveness is for the person and how free forgiveness is. And it's for you. It's not for the other person. And if that was the case, then I feel like people would be doing it more because it's for you. So it's something that's benefiting you, right? It's not benefiting the other person. I mean, that is true. It is for you, but because of the way it works, you don't see the benefit up front. It's like someone who who's never been to the gym before or has like never done any kind of working out, like the idea of going to the gym and like sweating and like lifting stuff and being uncomfortable and like people watching and like the gym is, you know, it benefits your body, but like if you've never done it before, it can just seem like I ain't doing that. You know, it's hard to see that benefit, especially when you feel like something happened to you and now it like the forgiveness, you're directing the forgiveness at the person who harmed you, who abused you, who whatever, like it feels like it's for them, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So how do you forgive someone you've never gotten an apology from or who refuses to acknowledge what they did to you? And I think this is a question I've wrestled with a majority of my life. One is fresh, the other is not so fresh, you know, but I have two very significant people in my life who I'm not waiting for an apology anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Like I'm not holding out for it. That is not something that I ever expect for the rest of my life, that I will ever get an apology or these people will ever acknowledge that the harm that they caused me. Yeah. How do you do that? Because that has probably been one of the most difficult things that I've done, or I would say I'm still doing.
Yeah. That's tough. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people struggle with that because the way we're wired to work, I don't know so much that we're taught this, but it's almost like there's been some kind of unspoken education that forgiveness needs to be reciprocal in order for it to be activated at all. Like unless I'm going to get an apology from the person who wronged me first, I can't first forgive. But that's not the case, and that's not how it actually works. But again, we tell ourselves that, and we feel like that's the way it's supposed to be. So a lot of people won't forgive because they feel like they're owed, and they very well may be owed an apology. But again, we can't. And this goes into like it kind of being a bit of a control thing, where it's like, I need this thing in order to do this other thing. You kind of know in your heart, like, in order for me to properly move on, I need to forgive. But you still feel like, well, I need this thing first in order to do that. So I'm just going to continue to wait for a thing that you know, daggone well, not to say that it can't ever come, but it may never come.
Yes, but I'm someone I'm not holding out for that. And it's still been hard for me, even though I'm not going to get it. Yeah. And I'm not waiting for it. And I'm not waiting for an apology or acknowledgement, but it's been very hard.
And you're further along than most.
That is a layer of it making it hard.
Yeah.
That makes forgiveness even harder when you don't get an apology or acknowledgement. I think it's a lot easier when you do get those things. So I get what you're saying about like how forgiveness does not have to be reciprocal. But when it's not reciprocal, that is making it super challenging.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't want to minimize that at all. But like, again, you're farther along. Like even as hard as it is, you're still farther along than a lot of people who just won't even get past that point. Like straight up refuse to, because they've just been holding on to not even the hope, just like I'm just not moving past this point unless this other person does this thing first, which, just becomes a crutch.
You know what, though? In my experience, I think that I had to acknowledge things happen. Like I had to acknowledge things. Okay, wait, let me try again. I had to acknowledge the hurt that was done to me. I was waiting for somebody else to acknowledge it. Not waiting, because I told you I wasn't waiting. I wanted, and I still think and maybe this is the part that you're like, oh, hurt will always exist. Because I think there's a part of me that always will want an apology or an acknowledgement. I think maybe the desire will get smaller and smaller and smaller over time. For sure. But that's not something that if it ever came to me like 50 years down the road, I'd be like, no, I don't need that. Like, no, of course. Like I'd want it. Well, you know what I mean?
Who knows where you'd be 50 years down the line, honestly. Like
but I think no matter what, like an apology, especially when something is so intense and so deep, I think even if it's 50 years from now, I don't think I would turn it away. I'd want that. I'd be open to it.
I see what you're saying, but like it never ceases to amaze me how things that we value and seem so vital and like, oh, I need this thing right now in my life, like in another point in your life, like that's can't believe that was taking up so much space in my head.
Well, it's funny you say that because now I'm thinking of smaller situations. So like the two situations I'm thinking of where this has been really hard for me is my dad and then my ex-husband. So those two things, what happened was really big and intense. But now I'm thinking of like smaller situations. Yeah. And there's been times where like my coworker, my work wife, even today, she brought something up to me that it really bothered her what happened. And we have already talked about this. I feel, and she has already apologized for it, but she's still thinking about it. I'm not thinking about it anymore. And I actually felt like I don't need an apology. Like, that desire, that want was completely gone. So I get what you're saying. Like it could just be a point where I'm like, I don't need anything. Yeah. Like it's okay. Like,
and I know, especially since like those two things are like massive things from like massive people in your life. But again, like,
but going back to my example, sorry, I cut you off, but like her and I talked about it though. Yeah. We had already, that's why I don't feel like I need anything. We talked about it. So I don't know, Myron. I don't know if we can say that, like, well, who knows? Because we're not 50 years from now. Yeah. But I think when you've been wronged a lot, like there might, I don't know. Okay, but that's not the point of what I was saying. What I was saying was that the point was that how do you forgive someone? I'm sorry. Yes. How do you forgive someone that you'll never get an apology from or who refuses to acknowledge what they did? I acknowledged it. Like I had to acknowledge it and stand on that. And so that was part of it. Like I acknowledged that was wrong. How I was treated here was wrong. So it was me acknowledging it, which for me was really important because I think, especially some of the situations that I was in, when the other person is not acknowledging something, that makes you kind of lose sight of what was actually going on a little bit. But I was able to stand firm. You know, after a while, not at the beginning, it's once again healing, the process of forgiveness. It took me a while to get there, but being able to say, no, I acknowledge this was wrong. And then people in my life too, people in my life acknowledging it, and people in my life like having so much empathy for me, not the people that caused the harm, other people who just love me and were like, I would talk to or tell the story to. And I have a friend, shout out to Amber, and she literally brought me to tears because, you know, when I was talking to her and telling her about some of the things that I went through in the marriage, she like looked at me and she was like, I'm so sorry. Like she said that to me. And it felt like a surrogate apology. Like I lied to you not. I felt that was God giving me that. Like I really do. Yeah. And so it felt like such a gift. So I really feel like, once again, that's not guaranteed either. I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't waiting for that, but I got that. But it felt like important, a gift.
Like, yeah. Because I mean, especially if like you're going through that, you can feel a little bit like you're crazy, right?
Yes,
like
if like someone you feel won't acknowledge it.
Someone won't acknowledge what's going on, and it's like, yo, am I bugging? And then you have someone be like, nah, feel how you feel because you know that you're not wrong about this.
Right. And honestly, like, you know, people say, oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. People say that all the time, almost like a, oh, hey, how are you? It's different, but it's kind of like the reaction. But I think the way Amber said it, it was like different. It was like, it was so genuine. So like I said, I felt like it was a gift from God. I felt like it was, just so different from what I had heard before. Like I felt something inside of me shift when I heard it. So I think that's part of it too. Once again, going back to control, I couldn't control any of that. That just happened. I was given that gift by the people that love me. I think that's also why part of forgiveness is bringing your community into it as well. And like having people to lean on and talk to about what you've been through, people that care about you, people that are safe so that they can like walk alongside you with all of that. Yeah. Oh, we kind of asked this one already, but I'm wondering if you have any other thoughts. Why do you think forgiveness is so hard for people, even when they want to move on? And that was
me. Why is it so hard? Well, I mean, again, it's the process of letting go. Actually, so I was thinking about this. It reminded me of the the Aborigines in Australia, like they'll hunt monkeys, and what they'll do is they'll put like some salts in a jar and then bury the jar in the ground, and the monkeys will go in and they'll go in to grab the salt or sugar, I can't remember which one it is, but they'll go in and grab it, and then right as they grab it, they sneak up and jump out to grab them. And the monkeys, they could get out if they let go of what they're having in the jar, but because they have a fist, they're stuck. And because like they're panicked by the person showing up, they won't let go. They're like, and they'll just be stuck that way, and then they get caught. Like, as human beings, as crazy as it is to say, when we get hurt or when we are wronged, there's a part of us that will hold on to that so tightly, and we won't want to let go of it. Again, when I said it can become your identity, like I've seen people who have been wronged not forgive and let that just transform who they've been. Like they'll lose relationships with other people, not even people who've wronged them, but just because they can't move past this thing, and they they're victims now. Every time something comes up, it's like, oh well, this thing happened to me, and it was, it defines who they are, and it can ruin your life. But like, you want to hold on to it because
why? Like, why is the monkey holding on? Why are people holding on?
Why are they holding on?
Because you said forgiveness is letting go, which goes perfectly with your monkey analogy and metaphor beautifully. But
like the letting go, when something happens to you so significant that it changes you, you know that you can't go back to who you were. Mm-hmm. And as humans, like, we typically don't like change. We like to know exactly what's happening, and we know who we are. But when something fundamentally changes you, like you can't just move back, and you get stuck in like, okay, this is who I am now. Instead
of moving forward. Because I think forgiveness is the moving forward.
Yeah, but even that is a change. And now you're stuck on this. You were who you were, now you got moved to a different track, and now you're a victim. And to move to another track, which would be similar to who you were before, but like
better, if not
better, but you don't know how to just jump over there, because again, that's change, and it's not an easy change. And because also you're still figuring out who you are in this unforgiven space. Yeah, it's just all a mess, and you don't want to let go.
I mean, because a lot of the times, though, the hurt that is done to people that requires, no, not a lot of the times, pretty much all the time, the hurt that's done to people that requires said forgiveness, said letting go, said moving forward, was completely out of their control. Like, definitely. It was done to them. They are a victim in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think, but the control piece is the holding. It's like people almost regaining their power in a situation. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, the hurt is a place of not having any power or feeling like you didn't because you were hurt in those ways or whatever. And then the holding on is like, oh, I have power here.
Yeah.
And so whether,
even though you're holding yourself back.
Exactly.
But it's like, at least a sense of control. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you can control what happened to you. Now I get to control this thing. And again, because forgiveness is letting go, and it feels like another relinquishing of power and control. It's now, I don't know, it feels like a foreign antibody trying to invade you. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, nope, I'm not giving this up.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, control has been something I've struggled with. You know this.
Yeah.
And but once again, maybe some people like it, want it. I don't want to. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to. I know how great it is to just let go and be free. It is just something that I've struggled with a lot. It's like a safety thing. It's a lot of stuff.
You're not the only one, though.
No, I know. I'm not. I think a lot of people are like this.
Yeah, that's like even something, I think my dad talked about it recently. Like he was talking about my mom, and because she was a very controlling person, and she even said those same things, like she doesn't she doesn't like the way that she is sometimes. And like she wish like she, flip a switch and just turn off that control, that nature that just feels like, all right, I gotta, hold everything down myself. But it's like,
it's very much like coping mechanisms. Like people have developed these ways of being because it's worked, and it's something that they may have needed when they were younger to feel better, feel safer.
Yeah.
But those things that we've developed when we were younger don't work for the adult version of us all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, but also it's a balance, because there's many places and spaces where that sense of control is important to be like productive members of society.
Yeah.
So it's a balance. And yeah, that it reminds me back to choice, like the choice piece. It's all, the pieces are still.
That's fine. I mean, like I said, it's a journey, not just the destination. Okay, well, how do you have boundaries and forgive someone at the same time? Because that's a struggle.
Okay, I feel like I've done a good job with this in regards to my dad, because I think I forgive him, all the things that I experienced with him, but I have lots of boundaries. Like we don't communicate that much. And that's not coming from a place of inside of me. That's not coming from a place. And once again, you feel these things, like you can feel them. It's not coming from a place of I want to punish him.
Yeah.
It's not coming from a place of anger at all. Like I don't feel angry. It's literally just coming from a place of this is a person that when I have too much communication with them, it's just not good for me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a boundary, an example of a boundary where forgiveness is also present.
Yeah.
Can you think of others?
Well, I mean, I think you set up those boundaries because, one, you recognize that the person either hasn't changed enough, or is just unwilling to change. So you can forgive them, but like you need to also protect your own peace, right? And like not setting up boundaries. Because I mean, there are people who will forgive and won't put up boundaries. Then they'll get hurt all over again, and then like wonder like, why does this keep happening? So those kind of boundaries are important to keep you in a space where, you're not continually being victimized.
Yeah. And maybe also continually like showing up as someone you don't want to show up as. So like, for example, I have boundaries with my dad because I think when I'm too involved with him and his life, like I start becoming someone that I don't really like. Somebody who's angry, who is, once again, like I just don't agree with the decisions that he's making, and they have an effect on me. And then I start acting in a way that's just not my best self. So that's also part of the boundaries too. Is like, I don't want to exude that version of me for me or for him. Like, I don't want to give that to him either, you know?
Yeah. But like also, well, you do recognize that like he hasn't made the steps that you would require for him to get, be like, okay, it's safe to bring some of the boundaries down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they stay where they are.
Yeah, stay right where they are until, change. And if, change never happens, then boundaries stay.
Okay. Can forgiveness be taught? Are there steps? Or is it something that people naturally develop? You keep getting all the hard questions.
I know. Can it be taught? They got classes. Actually, I wonder. Well, I mean, I imagine you learn in therapy, right? Have you ever discussed that?
No, that's interesting. Like I've never discussed how do you forgive. I've never asked my therapist that.
Really?
No.
Well, okay.
I think though. Wait, do you have a thought?
I was thinking like that's maybe you do get that once you get to like a certain point, but like I don't know. Most people go for therapy for their own issues. So like, unless like the therapist can really see that the main issue is you not forgiving someone, but usually there's probably some other underlying stuff before you get there.
I just remember something. I don't think, yes, and thank you, because what you said like jogged a memory. I don't think it can be taught. I also don't, I don't know. I think there's probably different strategies that can be used. I don't think it can be taught. I also don't think it's like linear. I don't think like, I wonder if therapists, I don't know, because I'm not a therapist, they may have like different strategies that they can use, but I don't know if the same strategies will work for everyone. Like everyone's different. I do know that when I was in therapy a long time ago, a few years ago, I wrote a letter to my dad and I read it out loud. So that was, and I never ever said any of those things to him, but at least like it was out. Like I was able to express, and I expressed it to somebody because I expressed it to her. So I think that's potentially a strategy that's used for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of processing that has to happen in forgiveness. Like you have to process everything that you went through. And that's also why I never like rushed myself through the forgiveness process. I'm not rushing myself. And I think I'm kind of getting there. I feel like I'm there maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. You're definitely moving along.
Yeah, I really do. I feel good. But I'm not rushing myself because, and I don't feel bad about where I'm at. I'm not like upset about it. I don't think it's anything to have any shame about, because I do feel like lots of healing is required. And I think the more I'm healing from the things that I've been through, the more I feel capable of being able to forgive. Yeah, that's why I'm saying there's so many different strategies that can be used.
Yeah.
And then the healing is not necessarily even like with the situation. So for example, like my ex, like the healing that I've gone through isn't all connected to him. Like it was healing that has happened, like things that happened when I was a long time ago that I had to heal from, to then to be in a place where I could forgive him, which is kind of weird if you think about it.
Yeah. No,
because it had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, but still, like, again, we're, complete human beings, and like the things we go through aren't just like, don't usually just stem from one specific thing that happens in our lives. Like it'll often trigger other things that have occurred from, childhood on. But yeah, like to the question, I do think it can be taught, because like based off what you said, like it's all about the recognition of the things that happened in your life, and again analyzing them. Even like what you're talking about with like writing the letter, like that's a process of like getting it out, because I imagine if your therapist never told you to do that, all that would still just kind of be buried in you. I mean, that's the good thing about mental health professionals. They can help us see things from different angles and give us tools to use to help analyze and look at things that are clearly going on within us, but we don't have the natural means to know how to express or to even communicate those things. So
I also think another thing too that's helped me, and I wasn't able to get there right away. It took some time. I think it took time. Well, let me just say it first. Empathy, like empathy for the other person. And I wasn't able to go there right away because I had to, like I said, acknowledge myself and honor myself and like what I went through before like having empathy for the other person. So it took some time to get there. But also I think empathy is a part of forgiveness. And also like, and this, I don't know, because I work with kids, I'm a big like childhood person, like always thinking about, like I truly believe a lot of the things that we all are going through as adults stems from childhood. And I think that's even why people show up the way that they do. I mean, I don't know, like, are people inherently evil, or was it something they experienced when they were young? Like, I'm not sure. I was in a situation with someone who I felt as though she was treating me very poorly and like doing things and kind of like almost backstabbing type behavior with the intent to like even get me in trouble, I guess you would say, in a sense, or just make it so that I'm not succeeding. And then I learned something about her childhood, and it completely like changed how I viewed this person. Like I didn't feel angry anymore. And I learned, like, because of things that this person went through in their childhood, they never were modeled loyalty. And so then and there was more to that. I just don't want to like expose the whole story. But when I heard the story and I was like, oh my gosh, and that's why they're not loyal to others. I wasn't angry anymore. I was like, this is why I feel like forgiveness and something about it has to do with not being angry with people anymore. Cause it's like all of those feelings of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's acting this way. I can't believe she would do that. All those really upset feelings, they were gone. Like they really were once I heard. And I wonder if it was a process. Maybe that was the last step, the empathy piece. Maybe. That helped me get there. I feel like there's probably other stuff that happened before that.
But also like having a why as to, why a person acts a certain way, like that's usually a big help to people. Because like if someone just acts crazy for no reason and like, what the heck are you doing this for? But when you understand, okay, this is something that's happened in life and it triggered this thing, and that's why they're doing things, like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It doesn't justify the action, but at least you can understand how you got there.
Yeah, and I feel like that was enough for me in this situation. There might be other added elements. There might be other things. Like I kind of felt like that's none of my business. That was enough. That's what I needed, you know?
And that also could have to do with because of the closeness that you had to that person or lack of closeness. You know, that proximity may have made it easier for you to just be like, all right, I understand. Cool. You know?
Yeah. This also brings me to another question that I think I've asked you before. Like, are people... Crap, what was the question I asked you? I remember asking you this. You didn't give me an answer. It wasn't sufficient enough. But I think it was over like text maybe or Instagram or something. It was definitely on Instagram. You sent me some sort of a reel, which prompted me to ask you a question like, oh, got it. It was kind of along the lines of like, do we assume that people are doing the... Oh, thank you. It's coming back. Do we always just assume that people are doing the best that they can in every moment?
No.
So...
I think we're assuming the worst people at this point.
No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I mean. Maybe I did say that, but that's not what I meant. How can I explain this further? I was even having a conversation actually with Gabby recently, and we were talking about me and my situation and forgiving my ex. And she said something to me along the lines of like, well, maybe this is his best in this situation. Like he's giving his best here.
Yeah.
And to me, and like what I think of as my best, like those are not the same.
Yeah.
And so like to me, I'm looking at behavior and I'm like,
yeah,
like I don't, but if I like take the perspective of he's doing the best that he can in this moment and that's his best, then it's going hand in hand with empathy because I think that is someone's best because of potentially things that they've experienced or been through or whatever capacity they have in the current moment.
Yeah.
So I do think that this question is connected somehow to forgiveness because should we just be assuming about people that they are giving their best in each moment? Even when people are acting crazy, is that their best because of X, Y, and Z? But I think I want to believe that. I think that helps me. But does that completely ignore the fact that some people are actually like, they choose to be bad. Like they choose to be manipulative. They choose to be, but are they choosing it because things they've experienced?
Yeah. Okay. So you saying that reminds me, like I watch a lot of like police encounter videos on YouTube and some of them just go crazy, but you'll see, and it's not always like, you know, officers like just abusing their power and things. A lot of the times officers being fairly reasonable and just people are just tripping out. But the way you'll see people react to officers and they'll get belligerent. They'll just start doing all this kind of stuff. They'll start crying and cussing and any kind of thing. But it happens like when people are placed in situations when they are out of control. They don't have control and like someone's giving them a command to do a thing that they don't want to do. Whereas they end up escalating things and you really see grown men turn into children. Like they'll just start acting like kids, like with no parental training or no know-how just because like they feel insecure. And like insecurity, that's a whole other topic. We do a whole other episode about that, maybe season 2. But you'll see that rise up, and it's like, again, in that situation when they feel out of control, that's the best that they can do. Like you would think that they could do more. They could act proper, but when you feel, you know.
And maybe in another situation, they do act proper. But in this situation
where you're like, you feel like your back's up against the wall, you feel like you're being attacked, you feel like your rights are being taken away, acting out, you know, reverting to childlike behavior, reverting to name calling, reverting to not listening, reverting to just disobeying authority. That's, for better or worse, that's the best a lot of people can do in those situations.
In that situation, yeah.
That's for a lot of people, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should assume that people are doing the best that they can.
That's the Christ-like approach, you know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You would want people to assume that you're doing the best that you can in whatever scenario you're in, and not just assume that you're a daggone idiot and just, you know, you're acting out for no particular reason at all. But like, you know, you've got trauma like everyone else has in their life, and this is whatever the situation in it is a trigger, and you're just acting to the level of capacity that you can move at in this time and place in your life.
Do you think that should just be given freely, even if it's not deserved? I know we feel people feel some type of way that word deserved.
Deserved. I mean, well, okay, this is probably going to jump into this question. How does culture, religion, and society influence how we forgive?
Mm-hmm.
Because as a believer in Christ, like, the disciples came up to him like, how many times do I got to forgive my brother who's wronged me? Like 7 times. Christ is like 70 times 7. Like, it's not, I've forgiven you of your sins to the degree in which you could never, reciprocate it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So forgiveness, like the same grace that Christ gives us, we're required to give that same grace.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, like, you have no right to withhold grace from your brother when you've been forgiven by your Father.
Mm-hmm.
Culture will say a very different thing. Culturally, maybe once for, was it fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you, or whatever. Don't stop fooling me.
No, fool me. I was going to try to get it, but let's just move on.
But yeah. Stop fooling. I ain't about to let you make a fool out of me no more. But yeah, culturally, forgiveness is like these day and ages, like, you're lucky if you get one forgiveness. We're ready to cut people off. We're looking to, toss them out if they've wronged, even if not even if they've fully wronged us, just perceived to have wronged us. We're ready to cut people off. So it's a vastly different thing culturally, especially don't let social media get behind it. If you're going through something, you put it online, people are quick to give you the axe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we struggling to give empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just hard.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit hard to talk about without talking about like our faith and what we believe. And, we've talked about this before. We're not a Christian podcast, but it's also hard to not mention this, especially with a topic like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think thinking about God and thinking about his love is something that did come up for me a lot in the forgiveness process, especially most recently, because just like how God loves us and how he treats us, and if you really like think about it, and you even think about all the different things, like if I think about all the different things that I've done and like God still loves me and forgives me,
mm-hmm.
right? Then the fact that I wouldn't do that for somebody else, is hypocritical, because I'm receiving that love. But it's not easy and it's not fun. And there's many times where I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's just real.
But again, also it's like forgiveness, but still having boundaries. It's,
yes.
That's the key.
Can someone be too forgiving? Because sometimes, can I give context? Oh, maybe you should answer first.
Okay, I was going to say, I think the only time we think of too forgiving is when we don't also set up boundaries in place.
That's so good.
What was your example?
My example is me. Because I do feel as though I've been too forgiving at times. Like, I am incredibly empathetic.
Yeah.
And so I think that process of like, my brain very quickly will go to like why someone may have done what they did.
Yeah.
And I have empathy for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm very quick to forgive, even if it's like when I'm wronged, right?
Yeah.
But I think you just nailed like that. I feel like that was like a wisdom gem right there that I will carry with me, because I think that's what I don't do, is put the boundaries up then.
Yeah. That's probably the difference between us, because like I'm also very, very empathetic, and I also like, if I feel someone's wronged me or someone's done something that I don't fully understand, my first instinct is to try to figure out why did they do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't have an issue with setting up boundaries with people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
You don't have an issue with setting boundaries, but I don't see you doing it very often.
Like, well, I mean,
you're smooth with it if you're doing it.
Well, to be honest, I've not been wronged that often in my life, or to the point where. But also
that goes back to like what you talked about before about offense. Like you're not very offended. You don't get offended.
Well, yeah. Again, I don't actually care what other people think about me, so that has a lot to do with like.
But does it have? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So like, in order to forgive someone has to wrong you, or more specifically, you have to feel like someone has wronged you, right? Even when people may have wronged me, I don't often feel wronged because I don't actually care enough to feel wrong. There's very few times in my life.
Is that like, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, there's very few times in my life where I've actually been like, there's really only one time in my life that
just share with the class.
And so I was young, and this is more of like a response to something I did. Okay, so I was young. I was maybe like elementary. I was definitely elementary school. Maybe like, I don't even know how grades work. Maybe like, how old are you if you're in the 4th grade?
You're 5 and 6 in kindergarten, 6 and 7 in first, 7 and 8 in second, 8 and 9 in third. You're 9 and 10 in fourth.
What grade are you starting to like read?
Kindergarten. And we start teaching how to read in kindergarten, but I would say it's like happening first.
Okay,
first grade,
so like
second grade.
So like I'm like 1st or 2nd grade. We're in the library and a teacher's like naming some of the books that, you know, we can read. And she names like this book called Pee-wee Scouts. And so like, I think it was me and like 2 other of my friends, we started like pointing at our dicks like Pee-wee Scouts, right? But she was like so disgusted that we did that. She sent us to the principal's office. It's a Christian school, so that might have something to do with it.
I think they would have done that at a regular school.
Maybe. I don't know.
They're 1st and 2nd graders. I don't know.
Yeah, but like the way that they came down on us was like, They were just like, this is not the type of stuff that we do here. And like, this is like disgusting and stuff like that. And I was just like, what? Mm-hmm. I felt like the punishment didn't fit the crime. So I went home and and like even my parents were like looking at me like, how could you do this? And I just remember thinking like,
are y'all for real?
What is it y'all think I did? Like, and again, I'm in like 2nd grade, not knowing anything about like the sexuality of what I was pointing at. Like, it was just like the only thing.
Teacher said Pee-wee?
Yeah.
I thought
But like, you know, in 2nd grade, the only thing you think your dick is for, you know, using the bathroom. That's it. Like there was no sexualization from my part. Yeah. Everyone was implying sexualization onto me. Mm-hmm. And I like, at the point in time where I was old enough to realize, like, I mean, it had always bothered me that like they came down on me that hard because I didn't even know why. But at the point in time when I realized, like, oh, okay, it's got more uses than just one, I realized like y'all the ones with dirty minds, not me. Mm-hmm. And like that was something that I, you know, kind of held on to for a while.
You felt wronged.
Yeah, I felt wronged, and I was wronged. And that's not even something like I needed an apology for, but like when we were talking earlier, like I had to come to that, you know, realization myself that, you know, other people.
I was wronged, that part.
I was wronged, and it was other people putting stuff on me that they had no business putting on a young child. Mm-hmm. So that's
why did we get there?
Oh, well, that was my only example of.
But you got there because you were answering can you be too forgiving, and then the boundaries part.
Okay, so that was a boundary. What was my boundary?
But no. Sorry. Then you were talking about how like you don't feel this often.
Oh yeah.
And that's why you shared the story, because it's like you only have a few stories of where you felt wronged, like you had to forgive someone essentially. Yeah. Because we were saying how you don't get offended. Yeah. But is there something there with like standards of how you want to be treated too?
Maybe. Again, I was like in 2nd grade.
No, but now I'm talking about now.
Oh,
like
now.
Standards. You don't get bothered by things, but is that because of standards of how you want to be treated?
Maybe.
Like you don't really have them? They're not
there?
Well,
it can also be, well, no, I do. But like my boundary is more for myself, in the sense like I have a rule for people where I don't allow myself to get upset at a person if I understand the nature of that person. So like if someone wrongs me and I don't know who you are or whatever, that's the only time I'm allowed to really get upset. But if I understand the nature of a person and I know the thing that you do is within that nature that I understand, then I'm not allowed to get upset at that.
That's your rule for yourself? Yeah. You have so much control over yourself. I want to say that's my rule, but I just feel like it's not always as like black and white as that, or like calculator. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know why
You're good at that stuff. You can be. But you're right. You're touching on something because I'm thinking about even driving and let's say somebody like does something on the road, like cuts you off or something that really like you get so angry at, like you can get so angry at that person. Wait. You like the person who cuts you off, you're driving, you're so angry at that person, right? But then there could be a whole story why that person cut you off.
For sure.
And if you heard that story, you might not be angry at all anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no, go ahead. You need to go. Like they're trying to get here because someone's sick and they have to
medical emergency.
There could be this whole story.
Yeah.
And once you know the story, it's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. It's like not angry at all anymore. So that really is.
Well, but even like, okay, so like road rage is a good example because like you'll see people who get cut off and then like they'll follow that person all the way to their home.
Crazy.
And it's like, dog,
behavior.
I didn't even know I cut you off. My bad. Like if I'd have known it'd have been this serious, but that's like people who are holding on to unforgiveness. I mean, clearly that's something.
That's deeper.
It's
way
much
deeper.
It's about something completely different, but
not
like
that situation.
That's what happens when you don't deal with the thing, because you won't always release that anger, those feelings, that frustration on the thing that's causing you. You'll usually spray that onto other people's in your life.
Which is why what I said earlier of when this process of forgiving required me to heal from things that I had been through that wasn't even in that situation.
Yeah.
It's all connected. Like I had to heal from this because the reason why this was so hurtful and harmful to me was a lot of reasons. Was because of things I had been through. Also because it was just wrong.
Yeah.
So it was twofold. But I think part of that forgiveness process was healing the things that had happened to me that kind of made that situation even bigger, which goes back to your road rage. Like there's something deep there.
Yeah.
That is so much bigger than this situation that needs to be addressed. And the situation is just bringing all this stuff to light.
Yeah. Have you ever struggled to forgive yourself, and how did that journey
No, I asked you.
You asked me. That's my question, though.
Yeah, but whatever.
Whatever.
Yes, I did. I have struggled to forgive myself. And I think this most recent experience with being married and then getting divorced and everything that happened throughout that whole process was a big, like, I can't really remember before if I'm sure there was examples of me not forgiving myself, but this was like probably the biggest example I have in my life. And I'm not someone who regrets things very often. Mm-hmm. I don't regret. I fear the future a lot, but I don't often like look at the past and be like, oh, like I don't do that. It's good. I don't hold on, but I do think in this situation, being married and just like the way I showed up in certain ways, it was hard. Like, I think I should have had more self-respect for myself, or had more self-respect, or stood up for myself more, or done things differently, or left sooner, or like there was a lot of that I was really upset with how I handled it.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, you did the best you could with the information you had.
And that's how I was able to heal, is like really accepting that I was doing the best that I could at the time.
Yeah.
And that will be often what I say to people when I reflect on everything. I'll be like, yes, I wish I would have done X, but that was the best that I could at the time.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I've gotten there with myself. So I feel a lot better. And how did that journey compare to forgiving others? That's an interesting question. I haven't thought about that. Mm. Well, it's easier if you think about it. Maybe not easier, but you don't need something from somebody else. Oh, but just like we can't control if we get it from somebody else, sometimes we can't control if we give it to ourselves. I think we can withhold forgiveness from ourselves, but I think that also connects back to the healing process. Yeah. Like there's a reason why we aren't giving ourselves said forgiveness.
Yeah, I think that will happen. Paul's snoring over there. I think that'll happen when there's, what we talked about, grief wasn't the last one, but that will happen if if you've done wrong and you didn't get a chance to reconcile with the person. Like if someone passes before you can reconcile, it's hard to, and you wronged them, it's hard to forgive yourself for that. Like it's crazy, the idea that you'll want to actually punish yourself. Like you feel like punishing yourself is not just justifiable, but just. Like it's the only sense of justice that person will get is by me not forgiving myself by me, just feeling.
Doing whatever it looks like to punish yourself. There's so many means in which people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not moving on from it. That can feel feel like you have to stay in this place. Like you can't get better. You can't move on because, you don't deserve to or whatever. And like you'll make up different stories in your head about where you have to be, or I have to do this, or I can't do that because this is, this is the cost of my sins, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. What
about you? Have you ever struggled to forgive yourself?
I don't think so. I mean, not unless like I've wronged. I felt like so like if I felt like I've wronged somebody, then yeah, that usually sucks because it's usually only up until like you can have a face-to-face with somebody and then reconcile, and then it's fine. But in between that's always like that'll can keep you up at night and stuff like that. So
shame.
Yeah, shame, and that's usually the biggest thing that'll hold, or at least affects me anyway. Is like that kind of shame.
Shame could be a whole episode too.
Yeah,
shame's pretty intense.
Yeah,
guys, one time I forgot Myron's birthday. Do you forgive me? That was really hard.
Oh, that.
And it was such an honest mistake. Like, there were reasons, and this goes back to the people driving. If they cut you off, there's probably a reason. Even when I do stuff in traffic and I get like honked at, or I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
They don't understand. The person doesn't understand all the context of why I just did what I did. And maybe it's sometimes me being stupid, not paying attention.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a real reason. But anyway, I forgot Myron's birthday. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So let's just be clear. That was not recent. That was hard. I think he forgave me, though.
Yes, I definitely did.
He didn't use that as his example, so.
Forgiveness. I was definitely slighted. You and Jenny.
My sister and I, both of us. Oh, it was bad. So bad. Let's not go
that was a whole
there.
Debacle. Okay, well.
Our first and only fight.
That was a fight?
No.
I was about to say.
We never know.
Okay. What advice would you give someone who wants to forgive but doesn't know where to start? It goes back to our first question, kind of.
Really?
Well, we kind of.
What is forgiveness?
Yeah.
Mean to you?
Kind of, since it's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's where my answer lies, in the fact that it's a journey. I think make space for yourself. Like, don't rush yourself through the process. Acknowledge yourself and what you've been through. Open up to your community and allow your community to be there for you, to acknowledge the things you've been through, the way you've been wronged, even maybe a surrogate apology, and then empathy too. And sometimes we don't always get to know why this happened or why this person did this. But maybe it's once you're ready, because it's not always that people are ready to do this, but once you feel ready, then being willing to move into a mindset of this person was doing the best that they could in that moment for whatever reason. And whether that's true or not, I feel like it does help though, and it gives you peace. What do you think?
Yeah, I like all of those. I think everything you said really helps.
I nailed it?
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it, because again, it's a journey, and you'll need to take different steps, and depending on where you are in that journey, will depend on what step you take forward first.
Yes, and also forgiveness does not mean that it doesn't take away from your story and the journey and the things you've experienced. Those two things, it's not one or the other. You can forgive someone and you can still honor your story, honor what you've been through, make space for it, acknowledge it. So yeah, don't let that stop you from forgiving, because you can have both at the same time.
Yeah, whether it's you forgiving someone else or you forgiving yourself, which I do think actually can be harder at times for people. Yeah.
We're tougher. Well, a lot of people are tougher on themselves than they are others.
Well, if it's someone else, you can often have different perspectives of a thing. But when it's yourself, you're bombarded by your own thoughts. Even if you do have other people telling you different things, like your own thoughts just can consume you in such a way, even if like
that's true.
It's Okay, so I'm thinking of like, well, it's the second time I'm mentioning Good Will Hunting. One of the big scenes in that movie is Robin Williams and Matt Damon. It's like right at the end, and he's kind of coming to terms with the fact that, you know, all the abuse that he dealt, all the things that caused him to do the things that he does is, you know, stems from the abuse that he dealt with. And Robin Williams is like, you know, it's not your fault. And like, he knows that, but like, he really needed somebody to tell him that. And like, you know, you gonna fall apart if you ever see that scene. Like,
I might watch it tonight.
Have the Kleenex ready, because but it's just, you can see the defenses and everything, the stories that he's constantly told himself that, you know, him being abused as a child, it's like, it's somehow his fault. And it's, But anyway,
we have to be kinder to each other.
We do.
As a society, like, it's just, people are walking around with a lot. People have been through a lot.
Yeah.
People have very real, like, wounds that they've experienced, you know? And it's a cycle. It's like that hurt people.
Yeah.
And we just have to be kinder, empathetic, understand that there's probably a why as to why the person is acting the way that they are.
Most definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for season 1.
Wow.
Of Two Sides, Same Couch. As often as we do this, there are no answers and no perfections, but two sides of the same couch. Ah, man. Well, we're clearly going to be taking a break. But we'll be coming back. I don't even know when we'll come back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. And maybe the format might be a little bit different. You know, hopefully we can engage more with our audience and just
let us know if there's any topics
you're
interested in.
Please do. But yes, thank you for coming on the journey with us so far, and we'll look forward to see you in season 2.